I'll give it a few minutes before I get started. Just to let everybody know, if you watch the replay on this, this is Interstate 70 eastbound in the state of Illinois. Mile marker 31. I just came out of Missouri. I'm headed north of Fort Wayne, Indiana, which is called Auburn, to a Walmart distribution center. I've been there many a time. I got to deliver there at 1 in the morning. So it is 5:20 Eastern time. I'll be entering Eastern time when I cross over into Indiana from Illinois. That's the line right there for Central and Eastern time. I'm currently in Central time. So I got 7.5 hours to get there. Plenty of time. I'm only 351 miles away. Get that delivered and get the next load. Like to have it run me by the house and have a little extra time on it, so well, that won't work either because the BMV is closed tomorrow. It's probably closed today too. So yeah, I got to get my DOT physical attached to my CDL. They used to cost $6. I think last year they charged me 10. It's probably more now. Just finding new ridiculous ways to get money off of us. Well, there's some things I sort of take a little too personal, but I'm glad that YT allows this to happen because I can make it publicly known that my country is leading the people in the wrong direction. It's our leadership that is making these decisions. Hi, Josh. Josh, do you see the panel link? That was the first thing I posted. I don't know if you've been keeping an ear on the news. It did make a blur on a couple of news. It made the national news that last night at Walmart in Beavercreek, Ohio, there was that mass shooting. Yeah, that's not too far from my house. I shopped at that Walmart. And they identified the guy as Benjamin. Oh, hell, I can't remember the last name. He was from 20 years old from Dayton. Benjamin Jones, I think it was his name. All right, hang on. Let me post that again into the chat. There, I think I got it again. I think that did it. Wait a minute. Copy that again to make sure that this happens again. Oh, I guess that is it. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, I'm making it public that our current president is in a pickle. Hi, Alex. Our president is currently in a pickle, and here's the issue. When I tried to run for mayor in my town, but I recanted because I got to know the mayor at last minute, and I'm like, why don't I work with my mayor instead of doing this ridiculous crap? And I got to know our mayor. She's a really nice lady. She's going to retire soon, though. That's the sad part. She's doing a great job. But when I went to run for mayor, I had to sign a pledge to Israel that I would support Israel. And I'm like, what does this have to do with me serving my constituents or running for election? They said, if you don't sign that, you won't get any funding for your election. And I'm like, oh, I don't need their funding anyway. This has nothing to do with another country. I don't serve another country. I serve my country and my people. Well, everybody that runs for public office, all the way up to the president, signed that piece of paper. That's why they have to blindly support Israel, because they signed that paper. But I will hold them to their oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. And by them signing that paper, they immediately violated their oath. And some people that have taken that oath take it very seriously. Other people don't. But people have their price and bought off and paid for. Me, I wouldn't sell my soul to turn my back on my country. Hell no. Even though there's a lot of people I can't stand, I still would not turn my back on my country. That would never happen. Or lead it down the path that it has been led. We're on the wrong side of history, folks. And it's not the Jewish people doing this. It's Zionistic Jews. I got friends that are Jewish that are against this. There are Hasidic Jews and there are Orthodox Jews of many stripes. And as my English colleague had said in a chat yesterday, you speak out against Israel, they paint you as somebody that's anti-Semitic. That's rubbish, is how he put it. It is. It's bullshit. That's the American way of saying it. They think that the Jewish people are the only Semitic people. No. The Palestinians are Semitic also. Being Jewish is not a race. Being Jewish is a religion. Just like me and probably Josh and a few people in here are a Christian. That doesn't identify our race. We can be multiple different races. We can be white, black, whatever you want to call it. But I'm only going to go with what I saw because I was only over there for a week. I will never return to that portion of the country again because I wanted to visit some biblical sites. But what I saw was despicable. You know, only in the Middle East can I go and see people get killed in public and people move on like it's nothing. I seen it twice. I seen it in Saudi back in the early 90s, and I saw this, oh hell, back in the early 2000s over in Israel. And I was right next to the Gaza Strip, and I saw it from a distance, and to me, it looks like a giant prison, something out of a freaking movie of like Blade Runner or something. It was ridiculous. And I'm let it be known, I do not support what my leaders, so-called leaders, are making decisions on my behalf. No, they're not making it on my behalf. I have nothing to do with it because I don't support it. Because, yeah, I take it personally. June 8th, 1967, USS Liberty. I had an uncle on that ship. And he had one of his legs blown off. He's dead now. He didn't die then, but He lived a little while longer. There are still survivors for sailors and Marines from that, and they're on YT. You just look them up here on YT, and you'll find out the damn truth. And Mr. Yahoo was one of them that was involved in that because Mr. Yahoo was the terrorist back in the day who just so happened to become the prime minister. Because if you're not them, they will kill you. And I find it no strange coincidence that the past couple of days when I was in Springfield, and then a week before that when I was in a motel room, I was watching TV and I was seeing vacation commercials for people to visit Israel for vacation on American TV now. I consider that no coincidence. And this was before October 7th. I find that no coincidence. You don't really see that commercial anymore. There's only one reason to have that commercial there. Because they knew something was going to happen and they needed some American blood to happen so it would draw us in to this. Israel is famous for false flagging incidences to get us involved. But also, I want to address the shooting at Beavercreek. It's just despicable. It's getting worse, folks. It's getting to the point where you can't freaking leave your house without having to worry about getting shot by some crazed young white kid that can't get laid. Because every one of them that have done these mass shootings, every one of them is a 20-something-year-old white male that can't get laid. The one that did this mass shooting was 20 years old. He wasn't even legal drinking age yet, but he could buy a firearm to kill people? Well, that makes a lot of sense. 20 years old, could buy a firearm, can kill a lot of people, but he can't even drive a Class A vehicle like mine. There are few who can, but they're restricted to their county or region of that state, which in essence they're local drivers, and most likely you have to work on a farm in order to do that. And this is very rare. Do you ever see one? Other than that, you can't drive a Class A vehicle until you're 21. Well, I know what the amendments are, but let's not be stupid about it and let a bunch of crazy people have firearms which don't need to be having them. That are not psychologically there. Because I've been around firearms my whole life, and I never called it a toy. And a lot of these people act like they, because they spent their entire month's pay on a firearm like that, and they live in a shithole. A lot of people have their priorities in the wrong direction. It's like these dudes are single and can't find anybody to date. Buying a firearm isn't going to get you a chick. I'll tell you that right now. Having a job and a car is probably about 5% of the way there. It used to be back in my day, you didn't have a job or a car, you weren't going to get a girlfriend regardless. You had to have a job and a car. I got all that and I still can't. Makes no sense. But Biden's going to try to get reelected. Well, he lost a lot of freaking voters. And just because they're not going to vote for Biden doesn't mean they're going to try to vote for Trump. And still, he's got to find his way on the ballot because the 14th Amendment, Section 3, is going to takes care of all that, where he can't. Because it's going to come down to the wire where they're going to get the Supreme Court to make a judgment on it. And they have to go by the written law. Unless they just want to piss all over it. But I ain't going to vote for either one of those two parties. I'm going to vote third party. And the one that looks good to me is Cornel West. Harvard, former Harvard professor. And speaking of Harvard, the Harvard and Yale football game was delayed by 2 hours because all the students were in protest supporting Palestine. And those are rich kids, by the way. Harvard and Yale. Yeah, you got to have money to go to those schools. Yes, I believe there needs to be a psychological test, yes. And ask these fools, what do you want to buy this firearm for? Do you live in a dangerous part of the United States? Are you in fear of something? My question is Walmarts are always busy. This guy's got to park his car and walk in with an assault weapon. I mean, didn't anybody from the parking lot see this? How do people not recognize somebody walking in with an AR-15, a long-barreled weapon, regardless of what it is? How can people not see this? It makes no sense to me. Or they see it and run the other way, which I don't blame them. You never know how people are going to react in a situation like that. There are some people that react and do something about it, and there's some people that don't. They'll freeze in place and just watch. But in all honesty, you don't know how anybody's going to act in a situation like that. Me, I've been put in situations not like that, but similar, where a van was running from the police and just ran over spikes and popped all 4 of his tires, but he was still going and not wanting to stop. It was a 2-lane road, so I took my truck and I blocked the entire road where he couldn't go anywhere. Sure, he could have went in the ditch, but then he would have got stuck and he wouldn't have gone anywhere. Blocked the road. They all got out. It was on US 24 in Indiana. I was headed up to Fort Wayne from my house. I think I was in a town called, it's an Amish town. Bern is the name of the town. It had this big clock in the middle of the town, square. Come to find out, he was shoplifting at a Walmart for a big package of diapers. And I looked at that, and I'm like, he probably didn't have any money, and he's got a child that he can't support, and he was probably pressured on getting diapers for his kid, so he risked it, and he didn't get away with it. So I told the cops, I'm like, here's $40. You know, you can arrest him, but I'm going to pay for those diapers, and so the kid that he has diapers. That's ridiculous, because I got 4 kids. At the time, I only had 3. And I know I don't want the child that needs them to go without. So here, I gave the cop $40. Give that to the Walmart, ring it up, tell them to keep the change, or buy yourself a donut and coffee. What it is we got too many young kids, and I was one of them at one time, but I never did. I followed the words of wisdom. Yeah, everybody wants to have sex. There's nothing wrong with that, but you got to accept the consequences of that decision, how it turns out afterward. It's like, can I afford this? Do I want to analyze this and look at all the consequences? Or should I go ahead and play around but put on a condom? Because there are a lot of people having kids that don't need to be having kids. How I know? Look at the trolls on YT I encounter. Don't know if there's any of them here, but I encountered a few and other live streams on their panels. Anyway, nobody's doing a live stream. I figured I'd do one and make my public statement that I do not support what my country's leadership's making decisions on my behalf, and I don't agree with. But yet I don't have any say. And we're supposed to be a democratic, free country? Yeah, some democracy, huh? There's one of your hypocrisies right there. I don't know, people come and go, but all I got to say is you can keep running from it. I notice a lot of people run from the truth, but it's still there. You can put your hands over your eyes and pretend it's not there, and Americans are good at that. But just to let you know, the scary thing is still there. And when you remove your eyes, boom. And I tell you what, I am proud of those people. People of all different stripes, all different religions, all different colors came together all over the world, mind you, to support Palestine. And yes, there were some that supported Israel, but they were very few and far between. Very few and far between. I'm trying to finish up my coffee here. Where'd my bottled water go? Give me two. That's whole beef halves we've delivered everywhere. And if anybody wants to join me on the panel, don't be afraid to click the link up there. Just, don't porn bomb me, all right? Yeah. I'm glad I didn't. It was nobody that I knew that got shot. And it was nobody knew that did the shooting. But this is really getting a little too close to home. And I hate saying this, but we need to look into eugenics. There is one law that I would make that they won't address, but it's real simple. Everybody that I knew that had guns were responsible for them. They had them locked away in a cabinet, you know, or in a safe box or whatever. They didn't leave them laying around the house, and they didn't handle them recklessly. Now, if you own a firearm, like some of these people that buy their first AR-15 at the age of 20 or 18 years old, and feel like they got the power of God from it, and they act like they just found Daddy's shotgun for the first time, are reckless, and none of them have been taught respect and how to stow it and how to handle it. Now, what about the ones that do have them and are irresponsible? They're not. They're just leaving them lay around, or just put them in the closet, leaned up against the corner where anybody can grab it. No, no, no. You got to make people responsible for their actions. If somebody gets your firearm and you haven't reported it stolen, that's different. If it's reported stolen, but if somebody grabs your firearm, has access to it, and goes and kills people, you're on the same dock as them. And I would press for gun lock laws, because you put these gun locks on a gun, they're useless, and you're not going to get that gun lock off. If you do, I'd like to know how you did it. Seen them, and I'm like, there's no way you're going to get this off. And if you do manage to get it off, you're going to end up breaking the trigger, and then the gun's useless anyway. Just simple measures like that. Uh, just finished my coffee. I have to stop in another. I may not have to take my 30-minute break to get there. I got 5 hours and 23 minutes of drive time. Got to go 322 miles. Yeah, I might have to. I'll fall short, maybe. I'll probably wait till I get to the Petro there by Anderson. But it would have been nice to have people to debate or talk about it, because that's the only way problems get solved, is to talk about them, analyze it, and use the best judgment and the best logic. Because at this rate, we don't change. Everybody that you know is going to have somebody that they know that has been shot in a mass shooting. I don't know about anybody else, but where I grew up in Chicago, we're always on alert. Always. That's something that'll never die. Whenever I pull into a fuel island, I observe who's around, and I let them know that I know that they're there. Because I was walking to my truck. It was like 3 years ago. I was walking to my truck. You can punch this up on Google. The Loves in Jackson, Georgia. I believe it was 3 years ago. Dude in the fuel island came at this one driver with a firearm. He stepped out of his truck and blew the dude's brains out. I thought it was firecrackers at first. No. Guy's brains were scattered all over the freaking fuel island. That's why I tell some of these drivers, don't be approaching other people's truck that is in front of you with an attitude. You do that, it causes a conflict. Somebody's going to pull out a gun and shoot you with it. Is it going to be worth it? But the dude that got his brains blown out was the mouthy one that went back to his truck to grab a firearm and was going to return and threaten that driver that was in front of him. That driver didn't waste any time. He saw him in the mirror, grabbed his firearm, opened the door, stood on the running rail, and boom, shot him right in the brains. I wouldn't have waited either. There was one time that I carried, I think, for 3 months. That was when there were people blocking the highways for the protests. I believe that's when the Black Lives Matter thing got started. But I want to know whose wise ass idea it was to think it was smart to start blocking interstate highways. That's illegal. Now, you can block roads in a town, but on the interstate highway, it states every time you get on that on ramp, right there to the right, there's always a sign that says motorized vehicles only. No pedestrians, no bicycles. Those who are American, Josh, you know as well as I do. And the only people that were being affected were people trying to go to and from work. That wasn't a good idea. Those are not the type of people you want to affect. No, if you want to make an impact, that's not a way to do it, by affecting the wrong people. The way you do it is you go around the police stations and you protest around the police station. Then you're making an impact, or a city hall. Again, poor decision making. But I'm sorry to my fellow Americans to inform you that they put it in your head and you're drilled in your head since birth that you live in a free country and you got rights and everything else. No, they're going to put that in your head that you have those, and they're going to control you by limiting the information that you're getting or the knowledge you should know. So they can do anything that they want and have you think and be afraid to stand up to power. I admit, I was afraid too, until I said, you know what? I'm not going to cower in front of these people. I'm going to stand up to them, but I'm going to do it logically, and I'm going to do it with the law, the written law, what it says. And I've been in this game for about 6-7 years. And now I think I've learned enough to where it makes a lot of sense. And I don't have any assumptions or fantasy ideas. No, I use the law and case law. Case laws, cases that were heard in court that were made judgment what the judge said in that case. That's what they call case law. That's what the evidence is. Because basically a judge's job is only to give judgment on the law. That's it. It's Congress that writes the laws. And then you have the executive branch, president, vice president, secretary, treasurer. Secretary of Treasury writes regulation about the laws Congress writes. When it comes to the tax law or the tax code, cannot Treasury rights regulation that the regulation cannot add words to or words from the statute's language. If it does, it's null and void. But most Americans don't know that. It's this. It's when people that do the reading and extensive research, when I'm talking a long time, I'm not talking about spending 24/7 doing this. No, I'd spend a few hours a day doing this for the past 6 to 7 years. Versus what somebody been told by mommy and daddy, or well, everybody else is doing it. Just because everybody else is doing it and you've been raised to believe that doesn't make it true. I had to come to terms with that myself. Yeah, I had to struggle too, and a lot of people don't want to hear it, and people don't can't take criticism. I didn't like criticism either until I learned, like, hey, maybe I should take that criticism, apply it to logic and the situation, and then see what the outcome is. Because whenever I talk about certain things when it comes to law, they're like, "Well, I know my cousin, and I know people, friends of mine that have been thrown in jail for this," and that immediately makes their judgment you're going to get thrown in jail for whatever it is. I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way. And then I ask them, what did they bring in their brief, which is what the language they use. What did they bring in their argument when they went to court? You got to have a brief. If you don't have a brief, you're going to go in there and get beat to death anyway. So you better have a brief and how logically you state your argument in that brief. A brief is when you hand the judge before the case is happening. The judge goes over everything because the judge can make a judgment before you go to court. But you still have to argue it if it does go to court. And if it's a jury trial, you got to convince the jury, not the judge or anybody else. And a jury trial is a crapshoot because the jury are going to be people you don't know. And they were taught and raised to believe and accept without question the same thing that you did, but they didn't do the work. Hi, Angela. Angela, I'm just making people either angry at me, that's going to hate me even worse, or probably use something against me as usual. But I had to do this because I'm making it public that there are decisions that are made on behalf of American people that do not agree with what that decision was made. And they're doing it without my consent. Yeah, but it's a little chilly. It's only 44 degrees. And I'll be driving till about midnight tonight, reach my destination, deliver the load to the Walmart. That's how they say it up in the Northeast, Walmart. I get it all mixed up. But Angela, if you see the in the chat there, I think you can still probably see the link to the panel if you wish to come up. Me, I just wanted somebody to talk to. No one is doing a live stream, so I said, "Oh, what the hell? I'll just go ahead and do one." But I wanted to make a statement that our president, you broke your oath, Mr. President, and you need to reevaluate the decisions you've been making because you signed a pledge. As soon as you signed your name to that pledge, you just broke your oath before you even took the damn thing. Because when I went to go run for mayor, I saw that page and I'm like, what is this for? I said, I'm not signing that. I can care less about another country. And I'm not running for another country. I'm running for the town that I live in. And if I'm running, I'm here to serve the people, not serve myself. I only did it because a few people asked me to. And I'm like, I'll give it a shot and see what happens. And I did. And then I saw that page amongst all the paperwork they hand you. And it's kind of funny. It was the last page at the bottom. And I'm like, this has to do with another country. Israel is not a part of the United States. And I have nothing to do with that. And then I told the person that handed me the work, the clerk, I said, look up June 8th, 1967, and tell me you would sign that piece of paper. I said, this is not going to hurt. This ain't going to hinder, but they ain't going to help the people that I want to help and serve in my town. And I'm not going to make it. And if I was mayor, I would never make a decision that was going to have a negative effect of the people in town. And if there was ideas or whatever, I'd tell everybody, I'd hand out leaflets, hey, come to this meeting. You need to hear this. And I believe before the people, this is a democracy. If you people want me to do this, you need to vote yes or no. I leave it up to you people to decide, not me. I'm just bringing up ideas of what direction we go here. We're going to, take this area that's nothing but a dirt sandbox that kids play in. That's nothing but a bunch of sand. Are we going to just go ahead and make it, another park, put swings and slides and, rubber tires or whatever for the kids to play on? Or should we not spend the money at all and just keep it and leave that lot totally empty? Or turn that lot into a parking lot, which we desperately need parking because we have the best fireworks show in the entire county of Ohio, Darke County, Ohio. Because the whole county shows up in our town. I think we've got like 1,800 people that live in my town, and every street is lined full of cars, and they walk over to the school, and they all sit in the area and watch the fireworks show. It's a hell of a fireworks show. Good thing is we only live 2 blocks from the school. We walk through our backyard, and we're there. I got somebody there. Hang on. Angela.
Yeah.
Let me make these.
Hello, Sean.
Hello, Angela.
All right. Yeah, okay. Am I? No, I'm all right. I was going to say, am I doing feedback? No one should be hating on you, babe. You're doing a good thing for everybody.
Yeah, I just don't like hospitals and schools getting bombed.
No, neither do I. I don't agree with it. Yeah, I don't agree with it either. No. They should. If these people want to, my opinion is, these people want to fight. Go pick a bit of land and fight amongst yourself in a piece on a bit of land. Take all the kids and all the rest out of it. Leave the hospitals alone.
Yeah, I forgot to mention it. God bless the Irish. They were mentioning it in their parliament about this, and none of them supported Israel.
No, nobody. I don't
know how the outcome was. They want to bring them before the ICC, the International Criminal Court. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they want to bring him the Israel to that. Benjamin
It's never going to
Netanyahu and
happen.
his war cabinet.
It's never going to
Yeah,
happen.
look, yeah, put them on trial for war crimes. And this ain't
Never
nothing
going to
about the luck
happen.
of the Irish. No, God bless the
No,
Irish.
it won't happen, Sean. It's too political.
Yeah, it's like the whole world, has to abide by the international criminal laws, except for the United States and Israel. I'm like, no,
Hello,
everybody.
Brandy. Nice to meet you. No, no, I don't support Israel. The thing is, the way I look at it is when 9/11 got bombed,
Hmm.
people from Israel were standing there with, I mean, there was young children, there was adults, there was females standing there with
Yeah.
guns and rifles standing there cheering while
Hmm.
those poor people were killed. Or
Brandy, I
I
may have
just,
been through there. I'm sorry.
all right, carry on.
I'm going to say to Brandy, I've been through there. I don't know if I delivered or picked up loads from there before. I don't think so, but I believe I've been through there before.
So that's my opinion of it. Well, the 9/11 people were killed, and while the buildings were falling, they were standing there cheering, shooting guns and all the rest of it, and it was like they were gleeing on it. While those
Hmm.
poor people died, and it's it was wrong. Nobody deserved to die in that. And it's the same with you've got your guy from uh, oh your guy from not Russia, the other one, um,
Ukraine.
Ukraine. Yeah, he was never a good guy. At one point,
Yeah,
he was never a good guy,
yeah. They're
and
talking
then all of
about
a
put.
sudden, the guys.
Yeah, they're talking about putting Russia up for war crimes. At the same time, we're allowing Israel to commit unlimited war crimes. That's the
Yeah,
hypocrisy here with our leadership. Babes in
yeah,
Toyland. I am 1/4 Irish. My grandmother, my mom's mom, was a 4'11" Irish lady that was born in Cork. She was a tiny lady, but man, when she yelled at us, she could knock the
mm,
walls down.
oh yeah, yeah.
That's why, and she got to name me. That's why my name, Sean Patrick. That's
Mm.
totally Irish. You can't get any more Irish than that.
Yeah, when an Irish lady spoke, you sat up and paid attention. Yeah. But even the guy from not Russia, the other one, um, when
Ukraine.
he Ukraine, I can never remember the country. He was never ever good to his people either, and all of a sudden this guy's an absolute hero.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, Viktor Yanukovych was actually elected as prime minister of or president of Ukraine back in 14, but our CIA overthrew him and installed this comedian that they have now because Viktor Yanukovych wanted to be neutral.
so it's all politics. I mean, Britain should even be getting involved. Nobody should be getting involved. It's innocent people, innocent kids are being killed. Countries are being brought into it when really it shouldn't be brought into it.
Yeah, 99.9% of the people with the O and the hyphen in their name, that's
Mhm.
Irish there. O'Connor, O'Donnell, Odell, yeah, all of it. If you got an O and a hyphen or a
Like I have my surname. It's not that O'Kane's my married name. It's not my real name. O'Kane's my married name. So
Mhm.
my husband's family are from an Irish background. My husband's
uh,
grandfather's was Irish.
but a lot of
Like
the Irish, when they came to America, a lot of them cut the O off
yeah,
when they came here. Like the O'Connors, they just became Connor.
and most of the Irish people have all got what is it they call the people Irish have all got is it a badge? Not a badge, a clan. Yeah, so now some of the Irish have got an Irish clan.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the clan have got like they have like badges and colours and like tartans and different things. If you look them up, you'll see that maybe your grandmother or is it your aunt or your grandmother, she has a clan attached to her
Mm-hmm.
name, and if you look it up, then you legally can wear those colours because that's the clan that you're from.
Imagine what the UK would be like if all the immigrants that are part of the UK, they're descendant from the UK. Imagine if they had to go back. You imagine how overcrowded that your islands would be. That's
if
why it's
all
a good
the
thing that there people did leave and go to other countries. There's more room.
if all the immigrants went back to their own countries, the UK would be more stable. It'd be under occupied, but it would be a lot easier because most of the immigrants come here, get jobs, and us people, our people, don't get a sniff at anything. Medical wise, we have to wait while the immigrants get seen to first, which is totally wrong. I mean, immigrants come into this country, they go under, they fall through the net, as we call it, they fall through the net, and they go undetected, and they get
Hmm.
jobs, and they start sending money across to their own families. No, no. And then they get benefits, and they spend money on whatever they spend money on, send it across to their own families. Now, why are you here? You're not here to claim a salary, you're not here to claim benefits. You want a job, fuck off back to your own country. I'm not racist and I'm not down with by any means, but what did you do before you came across here? I bet you earned a right good low amount of money. Is it because the money in the UK is more than what they're getting in their own country? No, shouldn't be here. Go back to your own country. But
Hmm.
I agree with people from war-torn countries. Come here, yeah, okay, but only come here if you can prove it. You're from a war-torn country.
Yeah.
Come
And
here legal. Come here legally.
I'm going to go back to the World War II. It was left up to Europe, and well, England, Russia, the United States, France, and
Before
then
my time.
eventually Germany all became allies to lead the world and humanity to that next step in our evolution to make things better for everybody, regardless of who you were. Well, a lot of we failed in that big time. We'd rather go and shoot a bunch of people and install a dictator than help people.
Yeah, before my time, Sean. Way before my time.
Yeah, that's what the Chinese do. Of course, the Chinese are doing it for influence, but they're helping people instead of bringing rifles and bullets and guns and bombs and planes and tanks. They're sending two guys in suits saying, "Hey, you need some ports. You can build your roads, update your internet service here, and we'll do all this for free." And they do it. They do it for free.
You want to do it over? You want to bring them over here? Jesus Christ! If there's something over here to go, that's going to cost you.
Yeah. And
Hello,
people,
Andy.
our media makes it sound like China's trying to control the world. No, they're not.
No,
No,
because
China wants two things. They want to do business, and they love to gamble, and we're the women. That's it. They're not into conquering anything or killing anybody.
the thing is, Sean, but China have to be careful because if there's proof out there, only if there's proof out there that they're mixing with Russia, then no, we shouldn't have anything to do with them. because that's not on. Russia's killing innocent people. Putin's killing innocent
No,
people.
no,
And
that you have to understand what happened to the Ukraine, the separatist areas. There was a lot of the Azov regiment and the Ukrainian army were a bunch of neo Nazis. They were just systematically murdering people in the Donbass and the separatist areas. And
yeah,
Russia said, "Knock it off, or we'll take action." And they kept pleading with the West, "Can you help us stop this?" And we weren't doing anything. It was falling on deaf ears. So Putin had enough and finally went in. Their interest was not to conquer Ukraine and to remake the Soviet Union. They're not interested in that. They're wanting to put a stop to all the killing of those people.
I don't know. I don't. As I said, I don't know a lot about politics, but I just
And that
think
war is over, by the way. Ukraine lost. They got slaughtered.
I don't know.
That's why the West focus now is on Israel and Palestine because they know that offensive was nothing. Was a nothing burger when they were preaching about that offensive they were going to do against Russia. Yeah, they got slaughtered, but the news won't cover that.
I don't know about that. Well, I agree to disagree. I don't know. I still say Russia lost. I say Zelensky won.
Nobody wins in a war.
But I suppose that's true. Nobody wins. There's no the winners. I don't know. I never believe anything I read in the news. If it comes, we have a channel here called the BBC. If a BBC say yeah, then I believe it because it's the only kind of truthful channel that I believe the BBC news.
I disagree.
I don't know. I don't know. I tend not to go near politics of countries. I still believe the 9/11 was deliberate. I'm 99.999% sure that 9/11 was deliberate. People say no, it was a plane crashed into it. If a plane crashed into it, where's the evidence? Where's all the bits and pieces? No, it wasn't. That was deliberate.
A massive amount of an aeroplane is made from aluminium.
Yeah,
Aluminium melts.
Angela, my
Yeah.
grandparents,
But that's
almost every one of my grandparents and their siblings served in World War II. Okay.
Yeah.
Now there was always this annual reunion they would have. Every now and then they would have it over in France and Normandy, but sometimes they would do it here in the States, but they would move it around.
Yeah.
Now most of them are dead now, but this was like 20 years ago, and I was there, and I was meeting some people that I've read their stories because they wrote books or whatever. And they had said when they were coming up to speak in front of everybody, they all agreed if they had known that our country ended up the way it did now, if they would have knew then what they know now, they wouldn't have went 5 yards up that beach to get slaughtered.
Yeah.
They never liked what was going on ever since 2000 when everything changed.
hmm I just don't think it's. I hate to hear people being slaughtered and killed and murdered. I just don't like that at all.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
they don't agree. They said we didn't put our lives on the line for this.
exactly. Exactly.
most people are killed for power and greed.
Yeah, that's true. So that's just my hobby. Most people are killed for power and greed.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know about British history, and I tell them you need to go over there, go to a library, and learn some things about British history. There's a lot of things that Americans aren't taught, and there was a reason for that. I'm like, you want to know why they have the NHS? Look at some old photographs that some people have taken, because a lot of people have these in their photo albums, of what happened to them during World War II. They're constantly being bombed by the V 2 rockets.
Mhm.
You all were suffering 9/11 every day for 4 to 5 years. And what the British people did, they all came together and they formed the NHS, which is a great
Mhm.
thing for everybody.
Look at the state of it now. Okay, it's literally on its knees. See if half the people here right now, see like every day, if somebody needs to have it, if somebody needs to see a doctor, right, you have to go through a routine where you have to phone a doctor's surgery, right? As we call it you would call it a practice, right? We call it a doctor's surgery, and you have to go through a rigmarole. You phone the number, and then you have to wait in line. And by the time you get down to number one, there's no appointments left, right?
Uh huh.
You guys obviously have to pay insurance, right?
Yeah.
To, let's
Yeah.
say, have kids, see a doctor, pay for something, pay for treatment.
Yeah.
We
Even
don't
with
pay,
insurance,
right?
even
Well, we
with
don't.
insurance, we can go bankrupt.
Yeah, well, we don't pay for insurance. We don't pay for treatment here. We get it free, but we pay for it through
Uh huh.
taxes and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The doctors and nurses are taken care of. The ones that are out on their ass are your insurance CEOs who have a lavish
Yeah.
lifestyle, a billionaire, millionaire lifestyle for doing nothing.
That's those who are in the trust.
And you guys threw them out on their ass, which that's a good thing. But 2 or 3 years ago, Jonathan Pye was doing a report during this protest where all the nurses were on strike. I don't know how what the outcome was, but it was hilarious. He goes, "Oh my God, look at all these nurses that are on strike here. It's like getting a lap dance while reading The Guardian." He's hilarious sometimes.
But the NHS is it's vile here. You,
Yeah,
you,
they keep
you
attacking it though.
yeah. I mean, you go and see a doctor, you'll wait for up to 7 hours to see the doctor. You'll be in agony, and
But you got
you'll
to
go
be
in and
clear.
see.
If your life is in danger, they're going to treat you right away.
No,
They they prioritize.
yeah, yeah. And you've got majority of 99% of the people in Britain are hypochondriacs. That you've got the same ones who phone every single morning want to see a doctor for some other reason.
Yeah, if somebody been hacked with a machete and is barely alive, they're going to go to him right away. Unless there's nothing they could do for him, then they'll move on to the next serious case. It's all
Well,
prioritization.
yeah, if somebody with a machete, right, has been brought into a hospital, right, and if he's bleeding, they'll patch him up. But if somebody with a heart attack comes in, the guy with the machete is going to have to wait because the
Yeah,
person with the heart attack comes over the guy with the machete. So it's a case of, which one do I pick? Na 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 na. You know what I mean?
yes,
It's the NHS is just. You
yeah,
wait up
and
anything up to 19 weeks to see a consultant.
yeah. Even though you may not see it in the news here in America, but it's there. There's been people dying in emergency rooms at hospitals waiting to see the doctor.
One of our closest, not closest friends, one of our ex-neighbours, right, committed suicide, right, took his own life, and they put his death down to COVID. Like, what? COVID? He never had COVID. He took his own life. He committed suicide. Or his death was done to COVID. That wasn't it. And his
Yeah,
fiance had to fight to get it changed, get a death certificate changed
yeah. That's why
because
my
it's
sister was a nurse at Joliet Hospital in Joliet, Illinois. It's south of Chicago.
mhm.
My sister and her daughter, my niece, worked at that hospital as nurses. Now, my niece still there, but my sister had quit because they both were treating people with COVID. They both contracted it. And yes, a lot of people were dying. My sister, there was a lot of people that were in denial that they said it was something else. And we told them, no, you're dying of COVID. There's nothing you can do. And they would hold these, tablets so they could talk to their family because
Mhm.
they wouldn't allow anybody in that area. They were still in denial. But where my sister became at odds with the higher ups is, yes, there were
Mhm.
some deaths that happened, and they went ahead and listed him as a COVID patient. I'm like, no, this person died of
Yep.
cardiac arrest.
Yeah, not COVID. Yeah, it's wrong. So wrong. They did that. They do that here. Somebody who's
Yeah,
maybe died of a stroke. Oh no, it was COVID.
yeah. Well, not only
See
that,
what
my
happened?
sister left because they were working 12-hour shifts,
Hmm.
7 days a week for over a year. My sister was said,
Yeah,
I'm fucking tired,
yeah. Hmm.
and anybody else would be too.
Yep. My sister, actually, my sister, she's changed jobs. She was working 7 days a week, and working for different places, and doing a manager's job, and she wasn't getting paid any money, any extra money. She's like, no, fuck you, man, I'm out of here. It's just so wrong. It's just so wrong. The British medical unit is so wrong. The NHS sucks.
Well, I'll
Dentists,
tell you this: the NHS is better than what we got over here in America. I don't care what insurance you got. You have to go to the hospital. You're going to go into bankruptcy.
that's true. Yeah, that's true. So what happens if people don't have insurance? Do they not get treated?
Oh, they'll treat you, but they'll dump you out on the road, like in L.A. It's called Skid Row. They'll put you in a cab and just dump you right there on the street. That's America.
Oh my God. Wow. I was in hospital,
And
but
and it wasn't the doctors or nurses that made that decision. It was the admin staff and the CEOs of the insurance companies that have offices in the hospital. They see that this person has no insurance or whatever and is poor. They're like, treat him and then dump him out on the street. And they did until there was a major outcry. They had to put a stop to that shit.
wow, that's shocking. I was in hospital in August this year, and I was in a corridor or a hallway for 23 hours, and I literally had to hold in a wee. Now immediately you want to go to the toilet. I had to hold it in for 3.5 hours.
Yes. There are some
So
times that when you go to the ER, a lot of things could have happened and they're limited staff. So
yeah,
they prioritize everybody.
yeah, yeah, and it was absolutely diabolical. I was like, never again. And then when I
Because,
eventually got taken to the ward,
yeah,
the doctor accused me of faking it.
yeah. The last time I went to the ER was in Salt Lake City, Utah, and they treated me away and because they weren't busy.
Hmm. I mean, it's just so wrong. So I'm now in the process of taking legal action against a particular consultant because he accused me of faking um, what was wrong with me. And I was like, oh, really? So we'll see. But
I had my friend Barry that lives in Manchester. He was a truck driver over here, and he was getting his Panay wife to come here, and he eventually did. But a week
oh,
before she came here, he had a heart attack in Charlottesville, Virginia. 2 weeks after that riot happened there, that was made the national news.
hmm,
He was at the hospital there, and I went as an emergency. I got a load to go there, and his friend from Florida came and got me. She's British. She lives in Orlando, and because she came up from Orlando because Barry didn't have any family here.
yeah.
And I talked to him. I said, Barry, how you feeling? He goes, I feel good now. I said, Barry, if you get treated here, you're going to go into bankruptcy. You're better off going back to England and get treated there because you're still covered under the NHS.
Hmm.
That's exactly what he did. He
Wow.
retired from triking, got his Panay wife, and went over to England. And they live in Manchester, Radcliffe to be specific.
All right, I know about that. Yeah, I kind of know what that is. We had a gentleman who lived in Scotland, was the other country up from England, and
Uh-huh.
he walked into the doctor's practice. He said, "I didn't feel right. I just don't feel right. Can I get an appointment with your doctor?" The man was having a heart attack in front of the staff. He was blue. His lips were blue, and the staff said, "Sorry, can I get you an appointment?" The doctor didn't even come out. The man walked outside the practice and dropped down dead.
Hmm.
Could not believe it. And then the doctor came out. And then he sent for an ambulance, but it was too late. They were at paramedics. He was already away. He was already dead.
If I had a friend, if I had a real friend that I was close to, it's Barry, and I miss him,
Yeah.
and I do. He tells his friends that's the closest yank to family to me than anybody else.
Mm-hmm. It's horrible. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's like you said earlier. They've got a spare land over there, if they want to build a children's park, they'll do it. Over here in the UK, if you've got a bit of land, oh no, you can't have that for a children's park. We need to build a house on it. It's pathetic. Or they build a corner shop, which means
Hmm.
it, without me
And
sounding bad, yeah,
Just
it's
local store.
local store.
out of all the countries I visited in my history of going on vacation to other countries, I observed the culture and some of the things they do that are different the way that we do them over here.
Yeah.
And America is not number one in everything. And I'm like in Germany, there are some things that you guys have the NHS. You guys do things better than what we do. But and yet Americans are taught to believe we're number one. No, we're not.
Hmm.
Some countries do things better than what we do.
I mean, I look at all the asylum seekers, right, and they say UK can have them. UK's taking them, right? You're like that. Why the should we take them? Put them into Switzerland. Switzerland's like that. Fuck off, we're not taking them, and we don't take them. So that because Switzerland's like that, fuck off. Why should we take them? Do you know what I mean? Oh, but the UK's a bunch of fucking saps. They'll just take them. Just put 500,000 in every week. Nobody will notice. Yeah.
Hmm.
And which as a result is that we can't get housing, we can't get jobs, we can't get food because these people come first. No, it's not happening. And we've got a Prime Minister who
Well, Bear,
has not got a fucking clue.
yeah, here's what Barry told me that made a lot of sense. When he took me over to Manchester and I looked at it, it reminded me a lot of Detroit, Michigan. And he
Mm-hmm.
said, "Yeah, Sean, the same thing that happened in Detroit happened here in Manchester. All those warehousing jobs that paid good money and people made good living
Yep,
packed up and left.
yeah, it's true. Yep. I
So
mean,
England is going through the same syndrome that we are going through."
yes, absolutely. He's bang on the nail there, yeah. I mean, I look at Manchester. I like Liverpool people for Liverpool. They're
Yeah,
cool. People
Barry
from
told me
Manchester. Yeah.
when he was a kid growing up in Manchester, it was a good place to grow up as an English kid.
Hmm.
Everybody was working, everybody made a living. There was no people going hungry, no homeless, none of that.
No.
He said it was just like Detroit, Sean. I said I believe you.
Yeah. I mean, there's not much homeless here. In my area, there is no much. There's not very many people homeless. You see the odd drug addict, is what you call them, drug addicts. You see them begging for drug money. Do you know what I mean? You're like, you're definitely not homeless. You're an arse. Go and get a fucking life. Do you know what I mean? That's just me. There's a difference between a homeless and a junkie, as we call them. But in Scotland, there's homeless people. There's people with tents. There's people who are sleeping on the streets, park benches and stuff like that. But the people in Manchester, they look after each other.
Mm-hmm.
And they really do look out for each other. I mean, that's one thing. Manchester's tidy.
Well, what Barry taught me was the heart of the manufacturing in England was Liverpool, Manchester,
Yeah.
and Blackpool.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the heart of the manufacturing in England.
Mm-hmm. Black Manchester is like London, the UK. It never sleeps. I would say Blackpool's a bit like, where's the busy part? Manchester is like New York City. It never
Really?
sleeps. Yeah,
When I saw it, it reminded me of Detroit.
but I've never been in Detroit. But Manchester never sleeps. I mean, the traffic is 24/7. Never, ever stops. And see if you ask somebody where something is, they'll point it to you. They'll point to you like halfway up a street. It's go up there, go left, turn it, and before you know it, you go, thanks, they've gone. They don't stop and talk to you, they just tell you, go along there, turn left, turn right, turn left, turn right, turn right, and that's it. And it's the traffic is
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah. To let you know, it's good that, and I wish we had more of this on YT, where common people just like you and I from two different countries and the rest people from Europe get on here can start a movement where we all know each other. We're all going through the same thing. And it's like we need to have a massive revolution in every one of our countries to change this shit, to change our economic system because it's not working for everybody. It's only working
Come
for the
together.
tiny minority. That's right.
Yeah, come together.
You realize how dangerous we would be together? Oh my God.
Chaos and bedlam. You, me, Jerry boy. Oh, brilliant. Yeah. I maybe do another live stream then and call it an international stream.
Yeah, international revolution. Sounds good to
Yeah,
me.
there you go. Perfect.
Because we're
International
all going through
revolution.
the same thing. All of us.
Yes. Yes, we are, Sean. We're all going through the exact same thing. And if we can
Yeah.
get different opinions and really talk to different people, what's it like in your country? What's it like in your country? How does things work in your country? I thought, you might just have a little revolution going. Do you know what I mean? But how long would you go back into that stream again if it was somebody else's? Would you go back into that pocket again? Oh, I really enjoyed that, but would you go back in?
Yeah. That's why I believe, and I wasn't even born yet, and I don't think you were either, Angela. November of '63,
No,
before John F. Kennedy was assassinated,
no.
his speech, he said something that was very important that should resonate today. And he was making peace with Khrushchev and Russia. He was making peace with them. And he said, we all have one basic common link, that we all inhabit this precious planet. We all breathe the same air,
Yeah.
and we all cherish our children's future, and we're all mortal. We all share the same interest.
Yeah. Hey, Ryan. Um, Hi, Annie. Yeah, that's shocking. A girl went to the ER in her capital city. She waited for 8 hours in the triage. She went home and shot herself in the head. Oh my God. God, that's horrible. Oh my God, that's horrible. Hey, Ryan.
And I like
Yes,
what you,
I am.
the
I am.
the former finance minister of Greece said it so well. Yanis Varoufakis. He was also an economics professor too. He said there are two paths in history we can go. We can live in a Star Trek utopia, or live in the Matrix. Or live in the Matrix. It's your choice.
Live in the Matrix. What's sake? I
It makes
love
sense
that
to
too.
me.
Yeah. Um. Well, right now we've got the Prime Minister, um, who has not got a fucking clue what he's talking about. He just does not have a clue. We just sacked his health minister, who wanted to people who lived in the tents. She wanted them charged, and she wanted them to pay for living in a tent. Shut the fudge up, you stupid fucking woman. Um, yeah. And we've got a Scottish minister, who's not sure he's Asian, but he's of somewhere along those lines, who doesn't like white people. Great.
But see, I'm tired of fantasizing by my favorite TV shows. I want to make it a reality before I die, or like to contribute to that reality and make it a reality.
Mm-hmm.
Where we don't focus on getting paid and we don't focus on treasures and and money. We need
Mm-hmm.
to grow up and focus on other things.
Yeah.
I mean, do we want to run around like a pack of Ferengi, or do we want to pursue the way Vulcans did things in Star Trek? Because the Ferengi are like, ooh, you clothe your women, and they all worry about profit and everything else. No, I'm not about that. I want to advance as a species. I like the way the Vulcans did things. Let's explore. Let's go to other planets.
Mm-hmm. But again, everything's all me. I mean, I once, when I graduated from university, I once done a presentation as part of my university course, and I said to my tutor, why can't we do something without being, just to be nice? And he said to me, Angela, as part of your course, everything's down to money. People won't do nothing without what's in it for me. And he
Yeah,
said,
that,
for
yeah,
everything that you have to do, you have to do it. You have to ask them to do something. What's in it for me?
yeah. A lot of people are having difficulty changing their mindset.
Yeah.
And let's go by what is important.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't believe it. Everybody's just so selfish. What's in it for me? Why me? What's not in my, I mean, if everything's all right for everybody else, it's like, not in my backyard, Jack. I'm all right, Jack. What about you? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sean, it's just, it's,
Well, Waylon Jennings, a classic country singer, wrote a song. It was perfect. It goes, and he didn't realize that it goes along with this. He wrote a song, "Look 'Em Back, Texas," and he said it so well in that song, "Look 'Em Back, Texas." Waylon Jennings. He said, "Keep up with the Jones, four-car garage, and we're still building on. Maybe it's time we get back to the basics of love. Let's go to Look 'Em Back, Texas." Waylon and Willie and the boys. That was a hit back then, but people missed the message. And I'm
yeah.
like, I don't feel like I should keep up with anybody. I can care less about a four-car garage and a boat and a camper and all this other crap.
Now, do you know what they're doing back? Do you know what they're doing here in the UK? Right now, the government done this big, massive thing about when people were driving in cars, tax disc. Right? I don't know what you guys call it, right? But we used to have tax discs on our cars. Oh, we're doing away with them, doing away with them. Waste of money, too much paperwork, too much paperwork. So every day did away with them, all went computer based. Everything was online, everything was done by computer. Now they're reversing the rules again. So I'm like, why are you fixing something that isn't broken? So
Yes.
now the government are now turning around and saying, we're going to reintroduce tax discs again. No, you're not reintroducing it. You're just doing something that you shouldn't have taught. You should never have messed up in the first place. So now they want to bring back the tax discs, which means, and it's to apparently stop people from not getting a car. You have to put a tax disc on your car because too many people are getting away with it. Well, if you hadn't took it away in the first place, you wouldn't have got away with it. So I'm like, why mend something that wasn't broken? Why
Like
stop something?
like medical wise, and here's your proof. The last thing that was ever cured was polio. And you know who the doctor that spent the time to develop that and synthesize the vaccine for polio?
Hmm.
A lot of people were so beside themselves; they couldn't handle it. He said, "No, I'm giving this to humanity for free." The man could have been rich; all of his kids and grandkids would have been paid for the rest of their lives, and still had
Well,
money left over. But he decided to give it to humanity for free for the betterment of humanity.
it's like cancer research. Polio's back on the rise again here in the UK. There's quite a
Yes,
few polio cases. It's like cancer research. There's a cure for cancer right there, but the reason
it's
they'll
all,
not give the cure
eh,
out is
it's
because
all
people will
about
stop
money.
giving. Yeah,
If
people will
money
stop
wasn't the
donating.
factor, people would cure diseases and
Mhm.
ailments that affect us, and we could have
It's just
more quality lives.
it's the same
But
with AIDS. The cure for AIDS is out there, but people will not
I don't
give
know.
the money. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Look at
Some of the.
Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson's been living with AIDS for 30 years.
Mhm. So is Holly Johnson from Frankie Goes to Hollywood. He's got AIDS.
I didn't know
No, I
that.
mean, yeah,
But
he's
Magic
got
Johnson's
AIDS.
been living with it for over 30 years.
Wow. I mean, and there's a cure out there for it. But the reason it's like there's a cure for cancer, but they won't give it out because people will
Yeah,
stop donating.
the best one is Dr. Brzezinski's in Houston, Texas. The American Medical Association has been attacking that man for years.
Yeah, this is
He's
a medicine.
he's cured
Carry on.
people with stage 3 terminal brainstem cancer, which is in medical terms impossible, but he's done it.
Through medication.
He uses your stem cells and urine, and I don't know what else, but he synthesizes a serum and gives it to you.
Wow.
It's incredible. But yet
Yeah.
the American Medical Association attack him because, you know, going to put them out of the cancer business.
Yeah.
I mean, what's important for humanity or for you to have a lavish lifestyle, you and a few others?
Is that because they know he's right? Yeah. I mean, it's the same here as well. I mean,
Yeah.
the doctors tell you, oh, you've got to do this, and you've got. I mean, it's like we were over here. They told us the COVID's right. I mean, COVID's rife over here, the UK, right? COVID's everywhere. And Boris Johnson, when he was Prime Minister, said that's it. No more jags. This is the last one. Now they're firing them at you. Oh, you need to get
Mm.
another jag. No, fuck off. I'm not taking it. I'm
I've been
not
here
taking
for. Oh, I'm sorry, Angela. I've been doing this for an hour and a half. Everybody's gone. I'm gonna end it because I'm
Okay.
gonna make a phone call. But I appreciate you joining me up here. I appreciate it, Angela.
I've
You have a
loved
good
it.
night.
You too. I've loved it. Thank you very much for having me.
All right. Bye
All
bye.
right. Bye bye.